What's up, y'all? Oh, look at that light glare. Sorry. We are doing Tyler Perry Sisters. I'm sorry. Season 8, episode 6, Web of Deceit. This might be a little lengthy this time because I'm going to try. Anyway, so the episode picks back up where Pernell and Jordan walked in Andy's house, y'all remember? And then we see where Penelope slapped Andy. And I was just like, sorry. So Pernell tells Andy that her and Gary are just the same. Penelope did mention that she left protective custody because Andy asked, like, how are you here? And apparently she left. Jordan says he's out of the race. He was kicked out of the city councilman race because of the stuff that was going on with Gary and Andy, and that with him being questioned and all of that. So Andy then tells Jordan that Robin is representing him, and then he was like, your ex-boyfriend? And y'all, I really didn't know that he knew about Robin, but we gonna act like we saw this conversation happen. So again, I feel like Penelope is really mad because Gary was going to marry Andy. At this point, I just don't even think it's about nothing else but that. Because I really thought that her and Gary was married, but I guess they were engaged to be married. I really just think that's Penelope's problem. Like, you're mad about it, but it is what it is. But also, let me add, the way Jordan would have had to peel me up off of his sister, because first of all, ain't no way you gonna come in my house, put your hands on me, and think you still gonna be standing there. I'm sorry. Cause and then this whole time, y'all, we watching Andy trying to explain herself. They going around in circles. Jordan holding Penelope, talking about stop, don't. Like it's some type of temper or something that we don't know about. But it's just this whole walk around the kitchen until they get to the stove area. And then, y'all, my favorite part, the theme song. My girls hold me down to place. I'm gonna get some singing lessons, okay? So then we come back and Andy finally tells Jordan the truth. And I feel like I'm glad that you did that, but maybe if you done that in the beginning, we really wouldn't be here. I thought about, at first I was like, well, why are they blaming Andy? But I feel like she holds a lot of responsibility, because you should have said something. But I'm not sure, her being an attorney and her, I don't know. But also the fact that she knows Gary's history and she knows how psycho he is, so she went ahead and went along with it. But if you would have said something, I think something would have been done. But it also seems like the more you try to do whenever it relates to Gary, he never gets in trouble. Nothing ever happens to him. So I guess she figures she'll take care of it. So I am gonna put blame on Andy for not saying anything. And you waited till it was too late to even tell Fatima. And even because of that, yeah, you have some responsibility in this. And I understand why Penelope is mad. But at the same time, Penelope, that's really not why you mad. You're mad because he chose to marry her. And just like all the other people who keep coming at her sideways because of how maybe the men feel about her, but I really just feel like Penelope's really mad because Gary was about to marry Andy. And I guess she mad about the stuff that's going on with her brother, but I feel like it's more of herself and the fact that she lost her kids. So now you trying to lay all of this responsibility on Andy's doorstep. No, no. And now I'm starting to think it may not have been you that stabbed Gary, but it damn sure probably was you that put something in that IV. If you did, I'm not mad at you, but I'm just saying you fit the bill. Anyway, so then Penelope lets them know what she saw that time she walked in that bathroom and saw Gary smelling Andy's underwear. She finally admits that she's seen that, and then again they are mad at her like she knew what was going on. Y'all, and to aggravate me even further, when we see Rich, girl. So in the next scene, Rich confronts Sabrina about not going to lunch with him, but actually going to lunch with Danny. And once again, he's acting like a nigga that he is. I can't stand him. And then what aggravated me even further is the fact that Sabrina always feel like she have to explain herself, because in that last scene, didn't she have that full-on emotional conversation with Maurice? And you're doing the same thing that you don't want to do. You keep apologizing. You keep going back to the person you don't want to be. And I listen. I get aggravated for the men choices that not only Sabrina is getting, but all of the girls are getting, except for Karen. Except for Karen, but the choices, the men choice that Tyler picks for these women is terrible. Rich is not a good person. I'm sorry. To me, he don't have no good qualities except for his looks. Because he cute though. So at that point, with Sabrina explaining herself, I definitely would have told Rich to go to the basement of hell. Because anyway, so Tony asked what were they talking about? What did we walk in on? Then Rich tells Sabrina about going to lunch. You went to lunch without me, but you can come to lunch and meet Danny. And I just kind of would have been like, sir, shut up. Okay, put the shut to the up. Okay, because you're not finna guilt me because I came to lunch. Once again, you have zero understanding. You don't know what's going on, and clearly y'all not seeing how drunk she is. That's another thing. There's obvious that this woman is drunk and nobody's seeing that. Anyway, Tony says they get all this back and forth, everybody arguing. Tony says Danny wanted approval from her friends in order to join a leadership program. And again, I get why he did it, but sir, you can go to hell too, right along with that leadership program. And so Sabrina asked the guys to join them for lunch, and I just was like, y'all, the way I was rolling my eyes at Sabrina, like this entire scene, and Rich and Tony was so unmanned. I mean, it was just So anyway, we go back to the salon with the protesters, Pam, that black dress, the unborn fetuses, Marie Willis walking in asking what the F is going on. What the is going on between the sheets in my home? Baby, wait, let me explain. I told y'all I'm gonna get some singing lessons one day. No, I'm just playing. No, I'm not. Anyway, so Pam and Karen get the stuttering, can't explain, they getting their Elmer Fudd on, everybody, and No Edges pops up and tell Miss Marie what's going on. Listen, I don't know, the lady name is Vanessa or I'ma call her No Edges. But I got some other names for her, but right now we gonna call her No Edges. So Marie is surprised. Then No Edges says, Root, she called it Roots to Raggedy, done burned up her edges. Now she want reparations, ma'am. Man, please. Anyway, Marie asked them to explain, and before they can even say anything, No Edges start to pipe up and start to explain everything. So No Edges said her edges started smoking, and I was like, girl. And Pam was like, she don't know what kind of chemicals she was using. And I was just like, Pam, you a new kind of fool. You don't know what you put in your stuff. You don't know what you had made. Nothing. You didn't write this down. You don't know. So, oh yes, and while all of this was going on, all this conversation going on, meanwhile everybody else was around there recording everything. Anyway, we get to the office where we see Fatima eating, and Hayden, she was sitting there eating and studying. Hayden walked in with a stack of files and just dumps them right on top of her food. And Fatima asked Hayden, you know, WTF are you doing? To me, Hayden is really doing too much. And I'm going to say this. He's one of them men that make you want to bust the piss out of him. But because I'm a woman and because you're a man, we can't fight you. And so he tells her that she's being insubordinate, and she was like, spell it. And he can't. You're a whole attorney, and you telling me you can't spell insubordinate? I got a problem with that. So I feel like Hayden has always created a hostile environment from the moment he could not get Fatima, because I remember at one of them when he first came, it was almost like he kind of liked Andy, but when Zach came along and started messing with Fatima and he found out, he been having it in for her and Andy since. So we get back to the apartment, and Andy asks Jordan to listen to her and says that, you know, Jordan says he heard enough. Then Pernell talking about, thank God. And at this point, with Andy backing up and all of that, we have known that Andy's character is a bit passive most of the time. They have her written in as a scary mofo. Like, girl, what you scared for? First of all, they in your house. Anyway, so Penelope tells Andy Jordan doesn't need to know her lies, and neither do her. But my problem with that is, ma'am, you walked up in her house, so you came unannounced, and you can go hit the elevator, and you know what, you can take the basement to hell right there on that elevator, because you pissed me off. Y'all, she get on my nerves. So Andy tells Penelope since she found out about her and Gary, she cared about her well-being, and I agree. From the moment she found out, yeah, Andy really had to process it, because Gary had just finished lying to her. As I stated before, Penelope is really mad about, it's more of Gary choosing to marry Andy. And I know other stuff plays a part, but you lost your baby to a man who was supposed to be your husband, what looks like to the woman that he was already with, and the woman who just seemed like every guy want her. Once again, you cannot be mad at her. I don't know. So Penelope thinks that Andy's help was something for Andy to, was something for Andy to actually get something out of it. And I was just like, Penelope, you don't hear yourself? Like, okay, So that do sound reasonable, a little bit reasonable. What Penelope is saying, you because you would think of stuff like that. But at the same time, girl, this girl really went out of her way to really try to help you. So finally, Andy goes in on Penelope, and then Jordan had the nerve to say, "Don't talk to my sister like that." And I was like, at this point, him and his sister is giving incestuous, but we gonna leave it alone. And sir, you can catch the elevator and take it down to the basement of hell right along with your sister, because this my house. Y'all came in here piping up at me, trying to go in on me. Like, both of y'all trifling at this point. So, Penelope, again, I'm gonna keep stressing this, how jealous Penelope is. You can see it, but I understand why she's mad. But again, you're mad at you have some responsibility to be mad at her, but you really need to be mad at this mofo that's laying in the hospital. But I'm sure you took your frustrations out on him when you either stabbed him or when you put something in that IV. But once again, I'm not mad at you for doing it. So Jordan is getting on my nerves. And everybody's blaming her for what Gary did. And I don't know if y'all noticed it, but I noticed when Jordan kept telling Penelope, easy, like she one of them people that pops off all the time, but she never met the wrong one on the right day. So then we get back to the restaurant. Rich, Sabrina, and Tony, they're working on my last nerves because everybody arguing, nobody's listening. The people around them are watching. It's embarrassing. And and only thing about this part, I have to say, Tony, when Danny needs your help, she would ask. That's what Danny says. And Tony, and another thing, that Danny wants what she wants. Like, you cannot force this on her, and I feel like you keep trying to make her see your point, and she don't, and you just have to accept it is for what it is. Just agree to disagree and just kind of keep it pushing. Like, she may not want my help this time. It's cool, I didn't mean to do that. I was trying to help. You hear her side, and then you move forward. And then, y'all, it may seem like I really be taking up for Danny. I really like Danny, but with this, I just think, I don't think Tony is doing too much. I think he's just trying to force something upon her that she doesn't want. And that's just the bottom line. If somebody says they don't want something, then that's okay. It doesn't make them less than. It doesn't make them less ambitious. It just means that they don't want this at this time frame. And he's not okay with that. And that's why he gets on my nerves. So, y'all, we get back to the salon. And Trey tells Pam, he's getting ready to leave, gives her a kiss, and heads out the door. And so Miss Marie says, Pam, is that fine man the reason you're so distracted that you didn't check the ingredients before you brought your products to market? Meanwhile, the cameras are out. Pam says Trey is just for fun. I don't believe that. But, here we go. No edges. Y'all, when I tell you that lady is dumber than a box of rocks. Tyler, I need you to get them up out of there, okay? They working on my nerves. So we get to the next scene with Fatima in the office. She calls Zach to vent. Basically, Zach tells her to relax and tells her Hayden wants her, but he's mad that he can't get her. But I said that on in the beginning. So then we get back to the restaurant. Once again, Rich is being an a-hole. He says that he's not top priority in her life, but when she wanted his sperm, he was top priority. And I was like, sir, let me stop you right there, because She did want your sperm in the beginning, but you turned her down. You told her you didn't want no more kids. So guess what she did? She went and found somebody who was willing to give her that. And when you found out, what did you do? You took your trifling behind down to that clinic and stopped the whole thing because you wanted to give your sperm to her because your ego wouldn't allow any of this to happen. Baby, this sounds so familiar. Like, bro, you did the same thing, except it wasn't sperm. You stopped a lady's whole entire wedding because you didn't want nobody else to marry her. You married her and then cheated on her. I'm sorry, we're not even talking about that, but it's the similarities in his same character. Anyway, oh Lord. Tyler, just send him back to bro permanently. And at this point, I just want Sabrina to break up with him. And then he says to her, if you didn't want to go to lunch with me, all you had to do was say so. Once again, you are not listening. You haven't even heard the reasoning behind it. You'll just see her at lunch with her friend, and you're just assuming. And you know what they say about assumptions. There you go. I really feel like you're really mad because you decided to offer up your sperm and you really did not want to because you do not want any kids. This goes beyond lunch. But I'm pretty sure later on in the season, this is going to come out. And I hope it do. And I hope she leaves. I hope she's not pregnant. I want Sabrina to be pregnant, but I want her to have the right person to be pregnant for. I feel like Sabrina is settling because you're with somebody who don't want to give you the one thing that you need. And we sometimes, not we as women, but we as people, this is general. People feel like they can change somebody's mind by feeling like I'm gonna love you more, I'm gonna do for you more. That's not gonna change anybody's mind. For me, I feel like when you meet somebody and you get to know them, and there are things that if you want kids and they don't, guess what? We can't go no further. If you want marriage and they don't, guess what? We can't go no further. When I hear those things that you don't want, that we both don't agree on, that those should be deal breakers, and that should be okay for you to walk away. It should be okay to say, hey, I'm going to walk away from this. I didn't mean to give y'all this little after school special, but I just felt like I needed to say that. I felt like I needed to say that because oftentimes we get with people thinking, you know, eventually they're gonna want what I want. No. And you can't make anybody want the same thing. You can't love them. You just can't do all of these things. If this is what they don't want, then that is okay. This is why I always say communication is key. Do not do anything else. Hang out, communicate. But you do what you will because we grown. Anyway, Rich talks about Andy once again. And they start to argue. And at this point, I'm stressed out. Okay? So, y'all, we get back to the salon. Miss Marie says to No Edges. Marie tells No Edges, you must be out your natural born mind if you think I'm going to give you a red cent of my money. So, the hood rat pipes up and says, you going to run me my money or else. Miss Marie got in her face and said, else what? So, Karen was looking at her head like this. And so Karen saw where she shaved the side of her hair, so Karen touched it. And y'all, we find out that she ain't nothing but a scammer. This heifer done shaved the sides of her head. I was like, girl, what? So Karen said, you must think this is circus and we some clowns. I think they said her name. I don't know if her name was Vanessa, but anyway, the scammer said, what is you talking? Not what are you talking about, but what is you talking about? Karen said, girl, you shaved the side of your head. So Marie was like, and Pam said, with your steaming, So Miss Marie said, you gotta be kidding me. Pam said, ain't no chemical burn. She felt stubble. So it wasn't a burn because you're not gonna feel stubble. But when you know, y'all know how it is when you shave or cut your hair, you can feel the little pricks of hair. And so Pam gonna say, oh, thank you, Jesus. Lord, I swear I'm gonna start going back to church. Girl, you just lying and swearing while you talking to the Lord. You know what, Pam? Goodbye. So the scammer was like, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. And so they started chanting again. Miss Marie said, Miss Marie called her a scamming little miscreant. So the scammer said, there you go, using them big words again. We not taking them lies. So everybody started chanting again. Miss Marie said, this conniving little ghetto. And the scammer says, it's your word against mine. It's my word against yours or whatever. Miss Marie says, oh no, it's your lies against her team of top tier lawyers. Okay? And once I'm done suing you for defamation, you'll be lucky if you find 4 nickels in your coochie. Baby Marie said, much less than $400,000, you mendacious wench. I was like, girl, wait. Pam said, I don't know what mendacious or miscreant mean, but I sure hope that edges never grow back. I said, Lord, what we doing? That was probably the best part to me. But whatever. So we go back to the office where Robin is just sitting there being as nonchalant as he is. But I feel like he another suspect that went in there and put that stuff in Gary Ivy. But I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it. Or I will say he probably was the one that stabbed Gary. Once again, I'm not mad. You know, we just need to find out who did it. Who shot JR. Anyway, so Fatima goes in the office and talks to him about the hostile environment that Hayden has caused. And so she tells him everything that Hayden has done towards her and Andy, and that he have all of the other people confused. Believing that he's such a good guy. That's usually how they do. And so, Fatima asks, about the case, and no, I'm lying. That's the next scene. What I did notice is that Fatima looks tired and aggravated, and her spirit just look low. Y'all, I really think this is where we're gonna find out in this season that she is pregnant. It needs to kind of, run together with Fatima, but I don't know how he gonna do this. Anyway, we get to the house with Zach and Michael. They walk in the door. And y'all forget all that other stuff. I don't know what they was talking about, but shout out to Michael because he said nuggets. Let me say, y'all, I was finna cry. Because I was real happy because he said nuggets. And he said it twice. He was like, I want some nuggets. He didn't say, I want some nuggets. He said nuggets. We just needed you to say one word. You is smart, you is kind, and you is important, okay? That really touched me in the ticker. Anyway, y'all know that was y'all know that was dope. Okay, I'm happy about that. Anyway, we get back to Andy, and Jordan tells Penelope, baby, to take the basement down to the car. Did you go to the car? That's what he told her. And Andy's in here apologizing to Jordan, and he don't believe nothing she's saying at this point. And I was just like, girl, take your L, because you could have told the truth in the beginning. But I said that now again. Before I was like, why everybody get mad at her? But now after really sitting there thinking about it, yeah, ma'am, you could have probably prevented all of this from happening if you would have just told the right channels, the right people. And even though you couldn't have really done nothing about Gary, it's just the fact that you should have said something, and you really should have said something to Jordan. But I get it, because I feel like Jordan would have ruined his chances for a city councilman if he would have found out what was going on, And she didn't want nothing to happen to Jordan, and Gary is unhinged, and we already know that. So again, damned if you do and damned if you don't in this situation, but you still have to take your L, mama. It is what it is. So we get back to the salon, and Marie tells Karen and Pam to get their stuff together, and she leaves. But before she left, she told them she wanted a business plan by the end of the week. And then she storms out of the office, and then Karen mama come in. Hey, mom, I ain't seen you in a while since last season, but hey, girl. So then we get back to the restaurant, and they're finally talking at a regular people's home. They using an inside voice. And I don't have much to say about this except for Sabrina dumped Rich. And just the fact that she aggravated me because she catered to his ego once again. And I'm just like, why are you apologizing to him? Like, I don't understand. I don't owe you no explanation. I'm telling you, if I'm trying to tell you and you keep trying to argue with me, baby, at this point, I don't owe you nothing in the beginning. So you can go. You can go. So, Robin I think I said the last part earlier, well, Robin and Fatima, but anyway, Robin tells Fatima to make it work with Hayden and that he will talk to Hayden. Fatima did ask in this scene if he had any leads, and he pulls out the pictures with her. Remember, she went to go see Gary right before the wedding, and she grabbed his arm, and then his security shoved her. Well, somebody took pictures of that, and I'm just like, who would even think to follow Fatima, and why would you have these pictures? That's why I feel like you are the suspect trying to act like you not. And I was just like, okay, I don't know, between the comment that Penelope made and not Hayden, what's his name, Robin, I feel like they both have done something. Somebody has done it. It had to be them. But anyway, we won't find out till later on, because this is where the episode ends. They worked on my nerves, except for when Miss Marie got no edges together. Y'all, I was happy about that. Anyway, I will come back to y'all next week with a new one. But before y'all run out, don't just leave. Just go ahead and like me, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to come to y'all with the next one.